Hey y'all, Fred here. Thanks so much for joining me today. We are going to take a look at this replica of the Spyderco Native 5 in G10. And I'm going to ask for some help from y'all. If y'all can help me actually find a different version of this knife. So this is going to be a little bit of a different review than I normally do. It's kind of more of me telling you my opinion and my favorites. So if you guys have followed the channel for any length of time, then you will know that the carbon fiber version of the Native 5 that I got has become my absolute favorite go-to knife. This is the one I pick up more than any other knife still to this day. Sits by my bedside. I carry it around. I bring it down to my desk at work and I'll sit and I will flip this all day. It has become the most fidgety knife that I own. And I've realized there's a unique reason why this is the case and why anybody else who has tried maybe the real versions of the Native 5s have come away with a very different opinion. So I want to talk about all of that. Got some strange and unusual things, some good and bad and ugly. So there's only a few knives in this world that I have bought multiples of. And so one of them, again, if you followed me for any length of time, then you will know that I was and still am a big Rosie fan, right? So I have picked up 4 different Rosies because I love that knife design so much. This isn't a Rosie review or anything, but I will tell you, this is absolutely an incredibly close second, and in many cases, I will carry a Rosie as well, even before the Native 5. But I do carry this carbon fiber Native 5 more than any other knife I own, period, bar none, and it's not even really close. If I'm going somewhere nice where I might, pull out a knife in front of friends or people and people who are into knives and want to know, what are you carrying today? Then I'll probably carry one of the Rosies, because it's got more style and class, in my opinion. It's a more beautiful knife, especially some of the unique designs, certainly very eye-catching. The action is good, feels great in the hand. The reason I have settled on these 2 knives is because of how they feel in the hand. So the Rosie is incredibly well known for that. There's a million videos out there, and everybody says the same thing. You have got to hold one of these in your hand to understand just how ergonomic it is, how perfectly comfortable it fits into almost everyone's hands. This large forward choil, that choke-up position. One of the things I think that really makes all the difference in the world is the fact that it's got these 3 solid pieces of metal right there. So, and the same thing on the back. So this pinch point right here, which is, really where you're putting most of the force on that knife when you're using it, is phenomenal. So again, not about the Rosies, but there's only 2 knives in this world that I have bought multiple versions of, and this is it. So this is actually my second carbon fiber. This is one that y'all have never seen before, but I had one exactly like it that I owned prior to this one. I took it on a camping trip with us about a month ago, and when we got back home, I carried it with me and was using it. It's probably lost somewhere in the camper. I just couldn't find it and was worried and began to panic. So I went online and ordered another one. That's how much I love this knife, is that I don't even want to be concerned that I might not find it. I'm getting another one. So this is my second carbon fiber version. By the way, a little side story on this. Those of you who have used OK knives lately will recognize that all their Spyderco knives are actually on a different website. It all has a menu link at the top on their main site, but you'll notice when you click on that link to see the Spyderco knives, the page changes a little bit in the look and design of the page. And that's because it's actually taking you to a separate version of their website. It's a Chinese website. And I bought this from there, and that's my point, is I just want to let you know, if you're worried about, can I still buy Spyderco knives through that other website? You can. It came the same way. The order was flawless. It was exactly like everything else. There was no credit card billing issues or rejections or anything like that. It just went through as always. The knife arrived in 2 to 3 weeks as always, so you can feel pretty comfortable if that's what you're into. So this is the second one of those. Then a while back, I've done several other videos. OK Knives was kind enough to give me a $100 gift certificate, for which I, for their website, to buy 4 more of their knives and do more reviews and sell more knives for them. I'm sure they're pretty happy about that. But anyhow, this is one of the 4 knives. I picked 4 $25 knives, basically, and this was the G10 version. I thought, well, I love the carbon fiber so much. I'm curious, will I like the G10? And since I got this gift certificate, why not go ahead and grab the G10 version? I will tell you, I'm a little disappointed in the G10. So let's focus on the G10 version for just a minute. I didn't even bother with the box. This is the standard Spyderco knockoff type boxes. It did come in plastic, and this little pamphlet is actually for the Native, which is kind of surprising, the Native 5. Rarely does that happen, and I'll tell you, I get these in other knives that are not natives at all. So it's just random is what it is. They've got a bunch of boxes and a bunch of pamphlets, and they stick them together, and sometimes you get lucky and get the right mix of them. I think it's just luck of the draw there. So nothing big on that. Let's do some real quick specs, just in case you haven't seen my other native videos. So this is, again, this is a replica from OK Knives. The knife itself is 6.875 inches, which is 6 and I think 7/8 for those of us who are math challenged. The blade length is about 3 inches total, but you get just a little over or a little under 2.5 inches of total cutting length. The closed position, it's a 4-inch handle, but because it has this large forward choil, you're going to get a lot more. So size-wise, I'm a size large glove. I don't have particularly large or fat, meaty fingers, just an average large size glove. You can see an extra large will easily fit on here, especially when choked up. When you choke back, however, you're going to, be about maxed out on a size large. But I don't know why anybody would ever use this knife. It feels so perfect right here in this grip. Anyhow, there's your size and your handles. Here's where it gets a little bit different. So the blade thickness on this one came in a little bit thinner. Now we're going to come back and talk about the carbon fiber one because it's actually thicker than the original. But let's stick with this for now. So the original, the real Native 5 should be about 130 thousandths. This one came in at 125 thousandths. That's actually not really that big of a difference. Most people would be hard pressed to notice any difference there. This is where it makes a really big difference. Is the Native 5 should be a 0.43, a 43/100ths thick. This one is 51, just a hair over ½ an inch. This one is considerably thicker, and that's one of the slightly disappointing things about this, and that's where I want y'all to help me. If you can find a replica version of a Native 5 that doesn't have the steel liners. So let me come back and finish that in just a second. Satin finish, full flat grind, G10 scales, S30V is what comes on the original. This one says S35VN, not sure why. Maybe they did a run in S35VN. You can be certain this is neither S30 or S35VN. For 25 bucks, it's probably an 8CR or 9CR. I did resharpen this and reprofile the blade. It actually probably is more like a decent 9CR. It wasn't as soft as some of the other knives, but we won't know until we do some cut testing on it. This is the other big change. Normally, this knife should be 3 ounces. This is 4.46. It's an ounce and a half heavier. Not a huge deal at 4.46, but you can definitely tell a difference in the weight between these two. And this one comes in just under 3 ounces, of course, so that's, an ounce and a half. So really, this one almost weighs what the real Native 5 in G10 should weigh. Of course, it's not a compression lock. This is a back lock. Standard fare for, actually I think the Native 5s came in different versions throughout their history. I believe this was one of them that every iteration had a different lock mechanisms. Y'all can correct me, I'm sure you will anyhow in the comments if I'm wrong about that. I think this is the one that they did that on. The normal price is 200 to 250 bucks, I guess. That seems a little high to me, but it is what it is. I got this for $23, $22.40 if you want to be precise. Behind the edge, I did reprofile this one anywhere from 15 thousandths, which is incredibly thin and slicey. That's going to be out here towards the tip where it gets much thinner, and up to about 19 thousandths, which is still very slicey. It sharpened up really well. Took a new edge. I put an 18-degree edge on it. I did cut my own little what do you call these things here? Sharpening choil, and you can see that's very minuscule. So let me do a little zoom in on here. Here's what I do. I take a Dremel. I have decided this is actually the best way. I've done this on several knives now. So I have this Dremel bit right here. It's a diamond cutting bit is all it is. And you just start that thing spinning and cut a little tiny groove. All you need to do is get past the spot where you're going to be sharpening it to. So, cut it a little bit deeper than where you're going to need to sharpen your edge. And for me, on the WorkSharp Pro, this works out perfect. I've done this on several knives now. I did the same thing on the carbon fiber there. And for me, that's the way to go about it. It's nice, it's simple, it's clean. Plus, it doesn't leave a big semicircle that can get hung up on like cardboard when you're cutting, which was, you know, part of the issue, and probably the reason they didn't do those on a lot of Spydercos. So the big deal with this knife is they have set it on top of pretty thick steel liners. The real Native 5 in G10 does not have steel liners. Now, I don't know if there was maybe an earlier, like one of the first versions of the Native 5s was on these steel liners, but they're not even like recessed liners, right? They're not even like sitting inside the G10. This is thick slabs of G10 and a relative thick liner. I mean, I've seen knife liners, steel liners, that are half of this thickness. I know that doesn't seem like much, but it's a lot when you're dealing with a knife this size. So I didn't realize until I got it that the real Native 5s don't have these steel liners. It's just really G10. So here's the other big brother of the family. This is the Native Chief, right? So this is the big daddy in the little guy. There's actually a smaller little Native, I think. And then you have the Shaman, which sits in the middle, which is approximately the same size. I didn't do my size comps here, but about the same total length as the PM2. So you've got a whole family, and again, there's an even smaller little Native. To me, this is perfect. The Shaman size is great for a big heavy-duty work knife, but the reason I wanted to show you this, I haven't even done a review on this. This is the same as what this Native 5 should have been. It's just solid G10 scales. Of course, you've got, you know, the steel backspacer on it, but there's no steel liners inside that at all. That's what this should have been. And had this one been like that, I think this would have been a very different outcome than what I think about it. So when you grab this knife, it's so thick, it feels beefy in the hand. I think of it as a bulldog. This is short, stout, squatty. It feels strong as can be. I mean, this is a bulldog of a knife. It's short, squatty, stout, strong, thick, meaty, all of those words that you can imagine are absolutely appropriate for this knife, but it's probably just a little bit too thick, as it were. Now, the other thing I have not mentioned at all is the pocket clip. So I got a whole bag of these because I hate these pocket clips, and you know, maybe y'all like them, and that's cool. That's fine with me. But of course, these come with this big long spoon style pocket clip when it first comes, which to me is terrible and a must replace, in my opinion. And changing that makes all the difference in the knife, especially when it comes to the carbon fiber version. So I went to AliExpress is where I got these. And I want to point out that this is, if you can note here, it's the one that's kind of curved on this right side here. You can see how that works out. And that helps it when it sits up against the back of the knife edge like this does. Not quite poke out so much. It still pokes out just a little bit over there, but it could be definitely worse. And I love this clip. This is perfect. I paid all of $4, $3 and some change. Bought a bunch of them, obviously, because I've put them on all of my knives, all of my Natives. And did I put one on here too? No, I haven't replaced the one on the Native Chief yet. I'm not sure if I will on that one because, you know, I'm probably not going to carry that as much, although I do like that knife. So I'm hoping that y'all can help me find a replica Native 5 G10 that doesn't have these liners. I'm really curious as to what it would feel like and be, because this is just, you know, maybe I'm just looking for a unicorn that doesn't exist, because this is too perfect as it is right now. This one, however, has some significant differences from the real Spyderco Native 5 carbon fiber. First of all, the real Native 5 has fluted carbon fiber, which almost looks like sunburst rays that are kind of carved into the carbon fiber itself. And that's why it's called fluted. It also has a much thicker back edge. So this is beautifully contoured. You can see it contours down very nicely. I think I'm getting too many things going on in this. You see it contours down to very thin on the back edge of this knife, on that top edge right there. The real one is very thick through here. I just got done watching a whole bunch of videos, other people reviewing them and all that. So the real one isn't as contoured as it comes up to the back edge of the knife as this one is. The other thing that is massively different from this one and all the others, this is on bearings. And none of the others, including even the carbon fiber versions, the real ones, are not on bearings. And that's why this is so fidgety. And that's why everybody else who's tried one that's on regular, phosphor bronze washers says, well, it's okay. I had to loosen this up and really work in those washers for it to drop like that. So it's actually a little bit loose on the pivot right here. Now, because it's a lock back, once it's locked into place, you can't budge that blade at all side to side. But when it's loose like this, I can feel just a little bit of side to side play in that thing, right? I wanted it like that. I specifically did it, Loctited it in that position, because now this one also drops. Makes a great sound when you click this down. It's like a block of wood. I'm going to put it up the microphone. Do that one more time. So the sound is awesome. It's like it reminds me of two wooden blocks being banged together. So love that about it, but it's just too thick, too much of a bulldog, too squared off. I think the real one without the steel liners that would be at 4/10 of an inch thick, that would be about perfect. Here's the other weird thing between these two knives is that the carbon fiber version, the real one, is also supposed to be 130 thousandths. This one's 150 thousandths up here. So this is way thicker. So that's 153. Yeah, it'll come down. 150 thousandths is what this is. And this is supposed to be 130 thousandths, and this comes in at about 125 thousandths. I actually think I like the thicker blade on this. This feels stout to me. I feel like I am not going to break this thing if I have to get in and pry some stuff. Plus, this is VG10 steel. And this one, the first one I had, didn't do well in the test, right? So disappointed. My favorite knife did pretty bad, actually. Probably average for a replica type of knife, but I think it ended up at like a 5 on an edge retention score. This one, when I resharpened it, I did reprofile this down to 17, 18 degrees, and it took a really good edge, and it definitely felt harder than most of the other knives I've been sharpening recently, even from OK Knives. So I'm going to run this through the test again. If it looks any good, I'll share it with you guys. It's just one more test out there after resharpening this thing to see if it'll do any better the second time around. Maybe it was just a different batch of steel that they're working with, and the first batch wasn't that good. Sometimes you get good ones, sometimes you don't. But the reason this is so fidgety for me is because of those bearings. That's why I say I sit all day long at my desk. I can do this right-handed, left-handed. I don't have to look at it. I can do it with my eyes closed. I can roll that thing in and out just all day long. Now, that's annoying as hell for somebody who's got to listen to it. But when I'm doing it, of course, your brain shuts that out, pays no attention. And that's what I love about it, is that there's more than one action needed. Fidgety simply means something to keep my hands occupied. Rather than just open, close, now I've got to spin it open, flip it around, drop it to my finger, which is another reason I like this, because no matter how you hold it, it's not going to fall out of your hands, nor is it going to cut you. I don't even have to worry about it. I can actually tip my hand almost upside down in this direction. This is straight up and down. I can still go all the way to here, and this knife holds onto my finger. And then open, close, right? Anyhow, then the final thing is I had to polish this a little bit around the tang of the blade and the back side of the lock face there. But I've now gotten this to where I can flip it open. So I can pull this out of my pocket, flip it open, use the back of my thumb, drop it down, close it just like that. The normal knife that's not on bearings, the ones that are on washers, are not going to drop free like that unless you do what I did, which is loosen the pivot just enough so there's a little bit of blade wobble, but once it's locked into place, that wobble is gone because the lock mechanism itself strengthens that connection in there. So plenty strong as is. So I thought I would share all of that. I'd love to see if there's a replica out there that is more close to the real thing, that doesn't have these stupid thick steel liners in the middle of this knife. If any of y'all see one, I would love for you to share one with me. Otherwise, I'm going to tell you, still, bar none, for the $40 this one costs, and you're getting a VG10 steel that may or may not be decent. We'll find out. But took a good edge and felt pretty good in sharpening, but it doesn't matter. It's the ergonomics. This thing absolutely does melt in my hands. Now, everybody's hands are different. Maybe it won't feel the same in yours, but if you've tried a lock back and said didn't really like it as much, try one that has bearings on it and that is beautifully contoured, even more contoured than the real knife. That's why I think this one has become such a favorite for me, is the contouring is, in my opinion, better than what I see on the videos of the real knife, because it stays very thick up at the top. It really only curves in down towards the bottom here. To me, the way this rolls around that contour just feels so good in your hand. This is absolutely comparable in every way. If you liked the Rosie and thought it was ergonomic, I promise you, you are going to love this knife, because it's nearly identical in how this feels in your hand, and to me a little bit better, if for no other reason than the carbon fiber is also warm, in terms of it's not cold titanium. Certainly in the winter months that may make a difference to you, if you've got to work out in the cold and you want it. Again, it's just personal preferences. All I'm doing here is sharing you my personal preferences, but I thought there were some interesting things that I discovered throughout all of this that really makes a big difference in what made these knives so good to me, where this one is fantastic and this one just not really so much, despite the fact that they're so similar in so many other ways. So hopefully that is interesting and helpful to you guys. As always, I appreciate you. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe notification bell down below. That always helps out guys like me. Be sure to throw me a thumbs up if you would, if you're still hanging out. That really helps me out as well on the channel, helps our videos get seen by more people. I always need that kind of help. Otherwise, I look forward to talking with you guys in the comments, and we will see you on the next video. Y'all have a great day. See you soon.